have brought an end to 2 decades of hostilities. Huda Abdelhamid, Al-Jazeera, Southern Sudan.
Well, joining me now in the studio is Sara Pantuliano. She's the head of the Humanitarian Policy Group at the Overseas Development Institute. Thanks so much for joining us. The elections, I take it, not very free and fair in your opinion.
Well, there have been numerous reports of serious obstacles on the ground. The UN had said that they're very concerned about a lot of the problems that the electoral environment presents. We know that there have been restrictions on civil liberties, and of course there are security concerns that have driven the EU mission to withdraw its monitors from Darfur. Having said that, however, I think that having even if we had the freest and fairest elections in Sudan, the difficulty of the electoral process would still not really allow people to express their choice very efficiently because of the difficulty of the ballot process.
So can this election lead to a new era of stability in the country at all?
I don't think there was ever really the possibility for these elections in this transition to bring that. As I just said, the process itself doesn't lend to that. You know, people they are voting for 8 different ballot papers in the north, 12 different ballot papers in the south. There have been mock elections in Sudan. In the north, it's taken a finalist an average of 23 minutes to vote. In the south, it has taken illiterate women in Warab state an average of 3 hours to vote. The complexity of the vote itself means that there probably be more votes that will be annulled, the votes that can actually really represent.
So if that's the case, what are the elections leading to?
I think the elections will lead to another phase of negotiations between the parties to continue this process of transition from a very difficult conflict that will still have to be mediated by a series of negotiations until we can move towards the referendum.
Will it be negotiated though, or fought over, as some are warning?
There is a danger that the local tensions that we see in many parts of Sudan could escalate, but I think the parties are also continuing to negotiate towards the referendum and beyond the referendum. Can
the government afford really to cancel the referendum?
I would think they would be against its best calculations to do that. I think.
So what happens then if the referendum goes ahead? Is there anything other than secession really a possibility at this point?
I think secession very clearly would emerge as the preferred option in the south. But I think it is also important to remember that the referendum is not the end point of this transition. It's a very important phase, but the transition continues. There is a lot that the parties still need to work out from the referendum ahead. The two countries will still remain together, will still share a border, will still share resources that cut across the border. And it is in the interest of both to continue to work together constructively.
Those issues haven't been resolved in years since the comprehensive peace agreement was signed. Can they be resolved peacefully?
There has been a lot of negotiation going on behind doors in this last year. It's difficult. It's not an easy transition. These issues have not been resolved because there are a number of long-term drivers that don't allow for a very easy solution. But the negotiations continue, and thinking that just in the space of 6 years this could all be resolved was going to be unrealistic.
All right, Sara Pantuliano, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, a Vatican lawyer has dismissed claims that a letter Pope Benedict wrote 25 years ago was an attempt to